It's a period of uncertainty, definitely. There is no visibility, there is no clearly established long-term trend on oil prices.
Vincent, starting off, could you give us a brief introduction into the global aviation fuel market, please?
The global aviation fuel market is a growing market. It grows all over the world, but at different paces from one region to another. In terms of consumption per area, Asia is now the number one region, slightly ahead of North America. It is obviously a market which is driven by airline passenger traffic, which has been observed to double every 15 years typically. So fuel market grows a bit slower than that because of the increased efficiency of airplanes, but it does outperform GDP growth at all times. It's a very open, transparent, competitive market. Airlines typically purchase through tenders. Prices are set in a very transparent way, always linked to publicly available international quotations. And overall, in terms of volume, we are talking of 5 to 6 million barrels per day, which means that it's close to 6% of the global oil and gas consumption, which is consumed in the form of aviation fuel.
Wow, that's a massive figure. So jet fuel is the biggest expense for airlines. So with oil prices plummeting, consumers benefited from cheap oil prices and cheap flight prices. How would you describe the health of the aviation industry at present?
Indeed, prices have dropped massively because aviation fuel prices follow very closely global oil prices. So they have been roughly divided by 3 over the last couple of years. We have even reached record lows in January. We have seen some deals with a cubic meter of jet fuel changing hands for less than $300, which had been unheard of for many years. Airlines have indeed benefited from this, but it depends also on their hedging strategies, because some airlines may have chosen to hedge their purchases of aviation fuel when the prices were higher. So it may not translate immediately and in full into their P&L and into the prices of air tickets which they're charging to consumers. We have seen a sizable rebound of the prices over the last couple of weeks, but it's a period of uncertainty, definitely. There is no visibility, there is no clearly established long-term trend on oil prices, unlike what we had in previous periods.
And following on from what you've just stated, it seems that oil companies would lose where consumers win in benefiting from the lower prices. So how would you describe the profits of oil companies at present?
The resilience of the profits of oil and gas companies depends a lot on their degree of integration between upstream and downstream. So upstream has to see with extraction and production of crude oil and natural gas, and downstream is refining and marketing of fuel products. There are offsetting mechanisms in the oil value chain between upstream and downstream. So the more integrated an oil and gas company is, the more resilient its profits are. Pure players, pure upstream players have suffered much more, of course, and even more the suppliers to the upstream industry. Now, one word about Total maybe. It is remarkable that Total's profits have decreased by only 18%, 1/8, in 2015, which is which is a smaller decrease than Total's competitors. And this is a confirmation and a validation of our vision and strategy of being an integrated company, strong upstream but also strong downstream.
Absolutely, and stood the ground against the market volatility. So what role would you say that Total plays in Switzerland and also in the rest of the world?
Specifically on the aviation fuel market, Total is both a manufacturer, as an oil refiner, and a marketer of aviation fuel markets. Globally, our share of this market is just a few percentage points, but we have a strong very strong position in Europe and in Africa. Worldwide, we serve around 300 international airports in more than 70 countries, plus hundreds of airfields, and we employ around 1,000 staff in the aviation fuel business. It's interesting to note that the aviation fuel division of Total, called Air Total, was born in Switzerland 60 years ago. So we are proudly celebrating our 60th anniversary of Air Total Suisse, which is our aviation fuel marketing arm in Switzerland, of which I'm the CEO. And in Switzerland in particular, we have a strong position, a leading position on this market, which is mostly made of the international airports of Zurich, Geneva and Basel.
Wow, and congratulations on the anniversary there. So what makes Total successful in the airline industry?
First of all, jet fuel, aviation fuel, is a highly sensitive product in terms of safety. Obviously, for planes, it is absolutely essential to rely on fuel which is technically perfect and which has had a totally traceable logistical chain all the way to the airport. By its 60 years of experience, by being among the members and the founders of the technical committee which sets safety standards for aviation fuel all over the world, Total has an advantage. One of our assets is the reliability of our supply, and that's the advantage of being part of an integrated group. We rely on refining assets, on logistical assets, which means that the supply of jet fuel to airports is uninterrupted, is very secured by the fact of being present all along the chain. This is a very important argument for airlines, which cannot afford to have a shortage of jet fuel anywhere at any time. And then I would say service, customer orientation and innovation.
Absolutely. Well, Vincent, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing your insights with us.
You're welcome, Jessica. It's a pleasure.
Well, that's all from myself and Vincent, but for all the latest Ducoscopy updates and exclusive interviews, do keep clicking back. Goodbye for now.